A recent report and multiple quotes from Don Sweeney have given us multiple updates on the Bruins head coaching search, including the new candidates, the list we have, as well as some interesting names that are no longer in consideration. We're going to be breaking it all down here, what Don Sweeney had to say in his recent interview, going from everything from the coaching staff as well as the plans towards free agency here in this video. Before we get into it, though, very quickly, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know that just over 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. But no need further ado, let's jump into this. Starting off here with the head coaching candidates, where we currently stand, and what Don Sweeney, with his new contract, had to say about the search. Starting off here, going into his quote from the Boston Herald, or a quote from the Boston Herald regarding his discussion. One interesting note on the coaching search is that when asked if he was still waiting to speak with the coaches still involved in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Sweeney said that he was not. Unless something changes, that would eliminate one coach who has been a leader in the rumor mill clubhouse, Dallas assistant coach Misha Donskov. That comes from the Boston Herald. Now, I want to touch on this a little bit before we kind of head into our remaining candidates, who we have, and what this really indicates in this article. Because Misha Donskov was someone that, as I'm sure you know if you've been watching the last few weeks since we've been eliminated, when we've been starting this coaching search, I've been very high upon. He's been a guy who's been able to build from the ground up the Vegas Golden Knights team. We know what path they took to get to their success, and he's been able to go then to the Dallas Stars and immediately jump back into another team which has ultimate success. And we see where they are now, the conference finals here against the Edmonton Oilers, and I think it goes to show, wherever he's been very, very talented. Because when we go and look at his career kind of areas of where he's been, assistant coach for the Vegas Golden Knights, director of hockey operations for the Golden Knights when they originally were in the expansion draft, Team Canada, the World Juniors, now with the Dallas Stars as an assistant coach the past 2 years, and with the Four Nations face-off, was an assistant coach there as well. His accolades has proven more than anybody can really speak about how good he's done with any team he's been a part of. And to me, at least right now, the way that this is playing out and the article is playing out, the fact that Misha Donskov is no longer in consideration for this role, to me, is just a very, very bad idea. And I do understand the Bruins want to get a coaching fill as soon as possible, because we know there's been certain teams as well that are still looking for coaches. Kraken, as well as the Kraken, sorry. The Penguins are now one of them as well. And there's a few others who have been recently getting coaches. And when it does come down to it, we have another coach inbound for the Chicago Blackhawks. Word out there is the Blackhawks have found their new head coach. All signs point to Jeff Blashill. We will see an announcement expected later today or Thursday. So we're now in another team now. And it gives the Bruins still that other opportunity where we saw Rick Tocchet say, yeah, the Bruins, I had a conversation with them, but we didn't have a for sure GM. And I didn't want to risk my job there with a GM that may be out as soon as next year. So it made sense there on that front why teams or coaches weren't willing to kind of share their interest with the team. But now the fact that teams are getting their coaches, the Bruins are not interested in Misha Donskov, really, to me, just kind of sets it off on the wrong foot. But we do have another quote here when it comes down to it from Don Sweeney here this time. We've been in constant communication with Morgan Geekie's camp since then, the season end. I have no issue with the timeline of our discussions. We'd like to get it done. We know it's going to be somewhere between a 1 and 8 year deal. How's that? And that kind of continues off Don Sweeney's consideration from it, that it almost does seem like he wasn't going for the coaching staff immediately. When he was going to talk with the players as well here in all this conversation, you know, the way that they made this signing, the way that they made this extension for Don Sweeney, Cam Neely said it was to get a head coach. And to do that, to go and kind of miss on a couple that you really wanted because of Don Sweeney, it's just something to think about when you're kind of skipping out on Misha Donskov. I want to take a look at the Bruins coaching candidates, because when we go look, we have a list here of some names that we've been really seeing a lot, and we kind of have a few videos of just about every one of them. So if you want to go look for it specific, go be sure to watch those. But Joe Sacco, Jay Leach, two current Bruins staff members, head coach and assistant, still in a candidate option. Jay Woodcroft, head coach or former head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, made a video on him as well. He's a great option, I think. But you know, there's some interesting names here as well. Marco Sturm, I think my favorite still coming down to this, former Bruin. I feel like he has everything it takes to become an NHL head coach at this point, and making that with the Bruins, I think, really rounds it out and makes it well and makes it where we want to see him. And Mitch Schlupp has been in this coaching carousel for the last little while. However, I've not put him on these lists due to the fact that I felt like there was bigger candidates at the time. And Mark Savard as well. Don't really know the idea what's going on with him. He's been unfeatured in everyone, but in this recent article, featured Don Sweeney, that was not really mentioned. So I guess we have to kind of leave that here for now. But when it comes down to it, Misha Donskov, I still think, is one of, if not the better option of this entire list. And it might be willing. It might be a good idea for the Bruins to wait and go and interview him. But when the free agent things come down, Don Sweeney has also had a very, very big quote on this. And we're going to have another video coming tomorrow likely about this, jumping deeper to the offer sheet side of things, which we're going to also touch on a little bit here of this specific screenshot. But be sure to stick around for that. Hit the sub button if you haven't to go and watch that tomorrow. But on the free agent front, Sweeney's put himself in a good position with 2 first-round picks in 26 and 27 to attempt to offer sheet a restricted free agent, whether it is the Toronto Maple Leafs' Matthew Knies, who has said he wants to stay in Toronto, and the Rangers' Will Cooley, or any other RFA in that matter. He didn't rule it out, but whether it comes to fruition remains to be seen. And now, these are 2 options I think are very, very good. And when it does come down to a guy like Misha Donskov in this case, a younger player, willing and being able to develop these players, he's shown he's been able to do that and shown he's been able to build a team which he thinks is right, which it perfectly fits into this kind of scheme of the offer sheet, the free agents available here. So keep that in mind when we're coming down to your other coaching options and who you think they may be a coach and how they would really be able to build a team that will be back in the playoffs hopefully next year. But going on to the cap projections as well, we know that the Bruins have quite a bit of cap space, and whether or not it is an offer sheet, we'd have to give up the picks, but the Bruins have enough money to be able to go out, spend in free agency, or go spend in the offer sheet kind of territory in the RFA side of things. And they will be able to do that depending if they want to, but we're going to have to give a lot of money to, just say if it were to be Matthew Knies, we have an offer sheet that would be in the realm of, I would say, $7+ million. It goes to show that, I don't have the screenshot here, but the offer sheet table will certainly put them in a position where they're going to have to give up a lot of picks. They've been able to do it. They can do it right now. And it will be interesting to see if they do. But when it comes to free agency, we know the roster needs to get deeper. We know the roster needs to get built up and put around a coach that will work out for this team, which is something that, once again, Don Sweeney got that extension due to no coaches being able to. And come into this lineup, then you work on free agency. Coaches mean a lot to a lot of players. And when it comes down to it, if you get a guy, someone that, they recognize, someone they've liked playing with before in the past, that will mean a lot to this team. And kind of one name that comes to mind here is Marco Sturm, the LA Kings, the Ontario Reign. Got a lot of those younger players over there that if the Bruins just say went out and got, it would really help their chances at securing a player that has been proven to have that kind of talent at that level. But when we're looking at the Bruins free agencies as well, we're going to need to re-sign a few of these. And Morgan Geekie was one that we saw Don Sweeney mention as I pulled up here in this this quote here. Constant communication. They don't know really any details yet, but it's going to be between a 1 and 8 year deal, and it does seem like he's not scared of the offer sheet opportunities from other teams because they're going to be giving him the money that he wants anyways. But when it comes down to it, Geekie, Beecher, Kuzi, Lauko, and Lowry, Wotherspoon, Jokiharju, and Cole Kepke. There's a few names here that I would like to keep. Of course, Morgan Geekie, Marat Kuznetsov, Mason Lowry, Jacob Lauko. There's still uncertainty with some players there. Henry Jokiharju, a UFA that I think would really benefit once again on this team with really whoever you want to pair him with. I think Zadorov would be the greatest pairing because we saw that work last year, but there are a lot of things the Bruins will have to really focus on to make sure they get their guys, they have enough money to spend, but they also go out and get some extra assets to be able to add to this team. And with the picks they have, the offer sheet is certainly going to be an option, near the draft for trades and whatnot. The Bruins are in a good spot, but the head coaching candidacy comes down all to this, and the Bruins are going to get it done a lot sooner than I think people are going to think about. So let me know what you think about this, all this kind of coaching circle kind of stuff. What do you want to see? Do you want to see Misha Donskov? Is there a Marco Sturm? Jay Woodcroft, maybe. Let me know who you want to see, but also, what do you think about the Bruins not interviewing Misha Donskov because he's still in the playoffs? Big risk, but I think, the Bruins want to get their coach, and that's pretty confirmed at this point. So let me know what you think about all this stuff there in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.